The Jazz, they are the team that was criticized the most, I think, in the aftermath of this deal. A lot of people, there were reports early on that the Jazz wanted a first round pick for Jared Vanderbilt, Mike Conley, and Malik Beasley. And so I think people are sort of treating this trade as if that was an absolute fact or even possible. It wasn't. So I already mentioned, let's break this down player by player. Jared Vanderbilt became awkward, redundant after the emergence of Walker Kessler. He's on the books for $4.7 million next year, but a reserve big man who doesn't space the floor is never getting a first round pick without other moving parts involved, i.e. the Jazz taking back bad money. And he makes too little money to have been sent out for bad money on his own. Malik Beasley, yes, he probably gets you a first round pick on his own still. That first round pick is not nearly as high end as the 2027 Lakers selection might be. And I think the other thing to consider is like he's been sub 31% from three for quite some time now. He's just been super up and down for them on offense. It's a good move for the Lakers and he's a valuable player. But like, I don't know, like he wouldn't have gotten you more than a lottery protected first round pick from a team that would have wanted it to convey this year, and it would have been in the 20s or something along those lines. So yes, he would have gotten you a first round pick. There's that first round pick, but it wouldn't have been nearly as high end or off into the distance. And for a team like the Jazz, they have so many first round picks. Now they're up to 15 future first round picks that are loosely or unprotected, I believe, as Woj framed it. Loose protection, I think, means like top 4, I would say, or lower. So top 5 or like better. So, and that makes sense. I think they have the top 5 for Minnesota in 29, now the top 4 for the Lakers in 27. You wouldn't have gotten a pick nearly that high end. And then Mike Conley, I'm not saying they would have needed to move off an asset to get him out of town. He wasn't getting you a first round pick on his own. I think even pairing him with someone, other teams would have looked at, well, we're taking on this asset because we're going to pay Mike Conley next season. And when you look at it that way, which is the right way to look at it, they maybe, again, I'm just going to say maybe, could have gotten 2 firsts for these 3 players. That's maybe. Those 2 firsts would have just been afterthought first and not as potentially high end as the Lakers might be. Now, you are taking on some risk here because if that Lakers pick doesn't convey in 2027, it turns into just a second. But you also get the benefit here of increasing your cap flexibility this summer. You just went getting rid of Beasley's team option. You're not going to pay Vanderbilt non-guaranteed, and then all of Mike Conley's money. They're going to have max cap space and then some if they don't want to do anything. And I'm not saying they need to go spend in free agency, but that's going to give them avenues to facilitate other trades or make other trades themselves, either as buyers in lopsided deals. Like, what if the Hawks just blow it up? John Collins just going to slide right into Utah's cap space. Like, that's still eminently possible. So that having that flexibility is part of the value that needs to be incumbent of this trade. That's like, that's not bad value here when you're looking at the Lakers first round pick that you're also getting. FK Retro said Jazz basically got cap space in a second, 2027 for Westbrook. Who are they going to buy out? And yes, you could look at it that way, and that's fine because look, most of the season's already gone. That Russ number, while it's huge, $47+ million, already most of his salary has been paid. So it looks like a huge number on the books, but it doesn't matter now because what the trade market has become. You don't really know what else you could have done. So you know what else you could have done. And clearly there wasn't any better move out there. Otherwise you don't make this trade. Alan Pinho says Lakers turn difficult Westbrook situation into 3 players that fold in much better. Add this to Rui, improving Thomas Bryant at center, burning minutes. Utah did well with the pick, but Minnesota. Yeah, I just talked about Minnesota, Alan. They not inspiring. I get it from a fit perspective. I think Conley's better suited for a roster where when Karl-Anthony Towns comes back, you're going to want him to be on ball some in addition to Anthony Edwards and Kyle Anderson. So I think he's easier to fit in that dynamic and has the experience with Rudy, but there's no way in hell that this is like an inspiring move for them. I think it could be a better fitting one, but I don't know if it actually elevates their ceiling. Might only elevate their floor. So I think the Jazz, to get back to them, did fine. It doesn't have to be overly inspiring, but if you would you have preferred, let's say you could have gotten 2 additional 2023 first round picks that were going to convey in the 20s. Why do you want that if you're Utah? Because you already have so many picks, like in general, that you can afford to put some into the distance. They have their own pick this year. They have Minnesota's pick this year. And then they have a first round pick coming from Houston, Brooklyn, or Philly. It's the least favorable. So you're already looking at 3 first round picks in the chamber. you're not going to, what are you going to do with a fourth and a fifth one? So I would rather have the 2027 pick because as of right now, yeah, they do have two or they have four. Now they have four 2027 first, but it's so far down the line. You can decide what you're going to do with them. They're probably not going to keep Cleveland's, Minnesota's, the Lakers' and their own. But like by that point, they're going to have a better hold of their rebuild. They'll be further along in their timeline right now. You're kind of just kicking the can there. And I think the other thing is they've been plucky and fun and like in the, they're in the thick of the middle class of the West. That's not why they traded Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. It was to anger for something bigger, better. And so like while they've been surprisingly competitive, there's value in saying, okay, well, that doesn't fit the bigger picture motif. And so what they did is they decided, hey, we're going to short the Lakers' future while forfeiting no one mission critical to our own. Do you think Beasley and Vanderbilt were both going to be on this team beyond next season, like going into their expiring deals? And Conley, for sure, that was his age 36 season. Doing that while also drumming up your draft lottery odds this year. And look, we know what the league looks like right now. There are some really bad teams that the Jazz are not going to catch up to, but like, they could they could lose 5-6 straight games. And like all of a sudden they're in Orlando Magic territory, which is basically top 5 lottery odds at that point. Like that's a possibility. So you drum up your own draft lottery odds there. And you also just have that effortless line to, I would probably have them at between 40 and 60 million in cap space. So that's for where they're at. I don't think that that's bad value.